And just like that, day two of the NFL draft is over. We had some surprises. We had some not so surprises. Some teams got better, some teams got worse. We'll go through that next. Welcome to the Tie Show for April 24th, 2020. I'm going to read off every draft pick tonight as fast as possible. If it's a pick that I liked, I'm going to stop, explain it. If somebody I don't like or I don't know anything about, I'm going to skip over. So if you like somebody that I didn't say like or not, leave a comment. Tell me why they're going to be good. Because I mainly just people that I've seen play. I don't sit down and watch everyone's games. But these are the guys that I saw this year and think that they actually can have an impact in the NFL. So we start with the Bengals at 33, and they started out with T. Higgins, wide receiver from Clemson. Great pickup. I had T going in the first round. He started falling later in the other mock drafts out of the first round. Bengals take him. Big receiver. Be a good target for Joe Burrow. Colts continue the wide receiver train, taking Michael Pittman Jr. out of USC. Also like this pickup, he played really good at USC this year. This puts somebody across from T.Y. Hilton, give Philip Rivers another receiver to throw to. Good pickup by the Colts. The Lions then went and took DeAndre Swift, the running back out of Georgia. Depends on if Kerryon Johnson's healthy. DeAndre Swift, I feel like, is going to be a pretty good player for him. Don't mind this pickup at all. Giants then take Xavier McKinney. Great pickup for them. May have won the second round. Them and a couple other teams did really well. The Xavier McKinney pick I really, really liked for the Giants. Safety out of Alabama. He's supposed to go 15-20 range in the first round. Fell all the way to the second round. Patriots took a surprising pick here as they traded. This was their trade with the Chargers last night to move the Chargers up to take Kenneth Murray. They took Kyle Duggar, safety out of Lenoir Rhine, which is a Division II school. Seems like a Bill Belichick pick, but all the guys on ABC and ESPN were hyping him up, so I expect him to be really good. Remember that name because the way they were hyping him up, he's going to be a really good player. Panthers then take Yetur Gross-Matos, the defensive end out of Penn State, another guy I had going in the first round. Good pickup for the Panthers there. Got their defense a little bit better. The Dolphins took another offensive guard from UL Lafayette, Robert Hunt. Just more protection for Tua. Texans takes Ross Blacklock, the defensive tackle out of TCU. I had him going to the Chiefs in the first round. So good pickup for them. He fell to them. Slide into that defense. Colts take a guy that I really like, Jonathan Taylor, out of Wisconsin. They traded up with the Browns to land him. I was kind of interested by this pick at first because of the Marlon Mack thing, but from what I hear, Marlon Mack's going to leave as free agent next year. So Jonathan Taylor should have the job next year. And I feel like Jonathan Taylor's going to be really good. If you saw him at Wisconsin, this man was a monster and one of the best running backs I've ever seen in college. So congrats to the Colts for landing him. He should be there for a while and provides them with some talent. The Jaguars then took Laviska Shenault, the wide receiver out of Colorado. I've heard really good things about him. Slides in there with DJ Chark and D.D. Westbrook. Gives Gardner Minshew another weapon to throw to. Good pickup for them. One of the last good wide receivers left, so it's a good thing for them to pick it up. Bears then take Cole Kmet, the tight end out of Notre Dame, another guy I had going in the first round. But this was an interesting pick for the Bears because they have 10 tight ends on their roster now. I think Cole Kmet will be their starting tight end because I think he's really good, but it was kind of an interesting pick for them. Uh, but all in all, we'll see what happens there. The Browns make my favorite pick of the night, probably. Winner of the draft. The second round, at least. Browns taking Grant Gelpit, safety out of LSU. So they traded down with the Colts. They even dropped down and got the guy that I think that they should have got. Grant Delpit, in my opinion, was a first round pick, the best safety in this draft. I mean, he won the best defensive back award in college, the Jim Thorpe Award. He's going to slide in with that defense, do really well, kind of like Greedy Williams did last year when they picked up Greedy Williams. They do really good at taking these guys late in the draft at turn into something. Antonio Callaway was one of those guys till he just kept getting in trouble. But the Browns really do. They always get one good late pick, and it turns out really well. And I think Grant Delpit's going to be that guy this year. The Buccaneers take another safety I really like in Antone Winfield Jr. out of Minnesota. The story about him was that his dad picked off Tom Brady in his first season, and now his son's playing with Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. Cool story there. Good luck to him. Broncos then take KJ Hamler, the wide receiver out of Penn State, kind of a do-all kind of guy, kick returns and everything. So he'll fit really good on the Broncos. Surprised they went with two straight wide receivers, but they did have only Cortland Sutton there and not really anyone else, so I don't blame them. The Falcons take Marlon Davidson, defensive end out of Auburn. Again, they continue their let's get SEC defensive player trend and take a defensive end out of Auburn. And he was really good this year too. Number three, and Derek Brown, number five. Both those Auburn defensive men were really good this year on Auburn. It'll be interesting to see how he works out for him. Seahawks then traded up with the Jets to take Darrell Taylor, the defensive end out of Tennessee. I don't know anything about him. We'll move on. The Steelers then trade up, or they didn't trade up. They took Chase Claypool, the wide receiver out of Notre Dame. Interesting pick because Denzel Mims was still on the board, and they didn't go with a quarterback or a running back in this situation with J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers. All those guys were still on the board. It's kind of surprising they went with Chase Claypool, of all people. I do like Chase Claypool. He could play tight end or wide receiver. I just felt like there were better options for the Steelers at the time. The Bears at 50. This is my projection for Jalen Hurts, but they went with Jalen Johnson, the cornerback out of Utah, a guy I had projected in the first round. So good pickup for the Bears there. Get him another corner. Cowboys then take Trevon Diggs, the corner out of Alabama. Good pickup for them. He was the best corner available. He also did really good at Bama this year. And they really needed someone to replace Byron Jones. So we'll see what Trayvon could do. The Rams then take Cam Akers, the running back out of Florida State. I really do like this pickup too. I think Cam Akers is overlooked because of the O line at Florida State. But from what I've seen from him watching Florida State games, he's a very good running back. He just didn't have any help there at Florida State. And then my boy at 53, the Eagles take Jalen Hurts. And I've sat here the entire time since he's been selected, which was around 7 o'clock, and wonder why the Eagles took him. But I wasn't mad about it because Carson Wentz is such injury prone, and I think this is why they did it. When you have a quarterback who's as injury prone as Carson Wentz, you need a backup. And trading away Nick Foles, or not trading him away, but him signing with the Jaguars, they lost their backup quarterback, and Nate Sudfeld wasn't that guy last year. And I think Jalen Hurts can be that backup and, if need be, take over the role for Carson Wentz sometime. I feel like he's going to walk into that Eagles locker room, become a leader automatically, and him and Carson Wentz are going to work really well together. I know a lot of Eagle fans were trashing this pick because they wanted someone else. You guys are getting a winner in Jalen Hurts, and I don't mind this pick at all. Good job, Eagles, for taking Jalen. 54, the Bills take AJ Espinoza, or Epinza, the defensive end out of Iowa. He was really good, projected to go late first, early second, fell all the way to the Bills at 54. Another steal in the draft. I don't know how he fell here, but the 55, the Ravens land J.K. Dobbins, the running back out of Ohio State. Let's just get their offense even better. Why not? I mean, now you have Mark Ingram, J.K. Dobbins, Justice Hill, Lamar Jackson, and they land Duvernay later in the draft from Texas. The Ravens are stacked on offense. Adding Calais Campbell to that defense, the Ravens are going to be just as good next year. As long as the Madden curse stays away from them. That's the key. Dolphins take Raekwon Davis, the defensive tackle out of Alabama. He did really well at Bama this year, too. I don't mind that pick for the Dolphins. The Rams then took another surprising pick of Van Jefferson, the wide receiver from Florida. But watching his highlights, he looked like a pretty good receiver and got very good route running and can separate really well. So I don't mind this for the Rams at all, kind of replacement for Brandon Cooks. But with Denzel Mims still on the board, I don't understand why they didn't take him. Vikings then take Ezra Cleveland, the offensive tackle out of Boise State, another guy who was supposed to go first, early second, fall all the way to the Vikings. They couldn't pass on him. I think he's never let a sack at Boise State. Now he blocks for a Boise State running back in Dalvin Cook, which would be kind of cool for them. The Jets, another winner of the draft, take Denzel Mims at 59. They trade down with the Seahawks and still land, in my opinion, one of the top 6 wide receivers in this draft class, and Denzel Mims from Baylor. I don't know how they did it, but they found a way to do it. Patriots then trade with the Ravens to move up. Thought he was to take a quarterback. I'll say this a lot because the Patriots trade up a lot, and I expected them to take Jacob Eason, and they kept not doing it. They take Josh Uche, a linebacker out of Michigan. They like their Michigan guys. Chase Winovich was last year. He played really well for the Patriots. Bill Belichick likes those Michigan defenders, so I don't blame this pick at all. The Titans then take Christian Fulton, the cornerback out of LSU. LSU's DBU. I didn't actually watch him play last year. Hadn't heard his name before, but coming from a national championship team, he must have done something good. Packers, one of my losers of the night because their main concern going into this was taking a wide receiver because they didn't have anyone besides Devontae Adams. And they take a quarterback in Jordan Love, which I said last night was a good pickup. And then they take A.J. Dillon, the running back out of Boston College, which again is a good pickup because there's no good wide receivers left on the board. But I don't get why they didn't try to trade up and take one of these wide receivers that was good. I mean, Denzel Mims was selected 3 picks before. You can't tell me you can't trade up 3 picks and take Denzel Mims, who would have fit perfectly with the Packers. As much as I like A.J. Dillon, I'm a huge Aaron Jones fan. And Jamal Williams is playing really good as a backup, so I don't understand why you need a third running back in this situation unless you're letting one of them go. And it'll be interesting to see what the Packers do there. The Chiefs then take Willie Gay Jr., linebacker out of Mississippi State. I don't know anything about him. The Panthers then take Jeremy Chin, a safety out of Southern Illinois, as they traded up with the Seahawks to take him. Said he's a really good safety. I guess we'll see this year. They needed somebody to replace Eric Reed, and this guy should slide in there and do that. Bengals then take, to start the third round, the Bengals take Logan Wilson, the linebacker out of Wyoming. Don't know anything about him. 66, the Redskins take Antonio Gibson, the wide receiver out of Memphis. They said he kicked return, running back, wide receiver. So I'd say a good pickup for the Redskins. Um, should slide into that offense really well. Lions take Julian Okwara, the linebacker out of Notre Dame. His brother also plays for the Lions. That's kind of a cool story. The Jets take Ashton Davis, the safety out of Cal Berkeley. Uh, good for him. They said he was a really good safety this year. Uh, don't mind the Jets taking him at all. This is when the Seahawks traded down with the Panthers. They take Damian Lewis, an offensive guard out of LSU. Another LSU guy got selected. Dolphins then take Brandon Jones, safety out of Texas. He played pretty good at Texas this year. Picked off Jalen Hurts once in the Red River rivalry game. I think it's a good pickup for the Dolphins here. The Ravens is when they traded down with the Patriots. Take Justin Madubuike, the defensive tackle out of Texas A&M. He was the best defensive tackle available, so I don't mind this pickup at all for the Ravens. The Cardinals then take Josh Jones, the offensive tackle out of Houston. They hadn't gotten an offensive lineman for Kyler yet. He's the best guy available, so good pickup there. The Jaguars take Davon Hamilton, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Again, if they're from Ohio State or LSU, they're probably a pretty good player. Ohio State, LSU, Alabama, and Auburn. If they come from one of those, and Clemson, if they come from one of those teams, they're probably pretty good. The Saints take Zach Bond, the linebacker from Wisconsin. He was the only guy who was projected to go like top 40, and he had fallen pretty far. The Saints grabbed him at 74. They traded up to get him, and so it's probably a steal for the Saints. We'll see how well he does with their defense. The Lions take Jonah Jackson, a guard from Ohio State. They trade up with the Colts here. Another offensive lineman from Ohio State. Buccaneers take Keyshawn Vaughn, the running back out of Vanderbilt. Uh, he looked really good this year. Ran over Patrick Queen in one game on a goal line, who was selected the first round, and I feel like he'll slide in really well with that Buccaneers offense, Ronald Jones, and he could be kind of the power back in that situation. Broncos take Michael Ojamue, the cornerback out of Iowa. The Falcons then take Matt Hennessy, center out of Temple. Jets take Jabari Zuniga, the defensive end out of Florida. The Raiders at 80 take a player I really like in Lynn Bowden Jr., a wide receiver out of Kentucky. Can kind of do everything. He played running back, he played quarterback, he played wide receiver for him. And a player I really wanted to go to the Steelers because I felt like he fit their system really well, but the Raiders snag him. So good pickup for them because they take their speed guy in Henry Ruggs, they take their agility guy in Lynn Bowden, and then at their next pick they take Brian Edwards, wide receiver out of South Carolina. So they take a big receiver. So them three and Hunter Renfro, they set up their whole wide receiver core next year for either Derek Carr or Marcus Mariota, whoever wins the job there. Should set up Vegas really well. And then the Cowboys at 82, a guy that had fallen far from me because my prediction was for him to go to 65. But I love this pick from the Cowboys as they take Neville Gallimore, the defensive tackle out of OU. As I talked about a couple days ago, I think Gallimore's a really good player. Just hasn't been as productive as he should have been. Had a good senior season, performed really well at the combine. I think Cowboys got a really good player here. And yeah, two OU guys selected with their 30 picks. I think the Cowboys so far have drafted brilliantly. All three guys that Jerry Jones has selected is the same guy I would have selected if I was in his shoes. So I guess great minds think alike. And they're one of the winners so far through this draft. I think they've got some good players. Broncos take Lloyd Cushenberry, the third center out of LSU. Another LSU guy goes. The Rams take Terrell Lewis, the linebacker out of Alabama. This guy was pretty good. He just had injury issues over his career. So the Rams to get him late in the third round was pretty cool. Um, Good luck to him. The Colts take Julian Blackman. This was their trade down with the Lions, safety out of Utah. He was pretty good this year. Utah's defense was another really good defense, and you'll see they have a couple players come out of this. And another player from Utah, the Bills take Zach Moss, the running back, another guy that I really liked in this draft. And I feel like he can be that power back while Devin Singletary's the speed back there in Buffalo, and it kind of moves him away from Frank Gore a little bit, but he can also train the two of them for another year, and we'll see if he finally retires. So good luck to Zach Moss. Patriots take Anfernee Jennings, the linebacker out of Alabama, who was the leader of the defense, and a couple of Alabama players said the best coached player at Alabama ever. So this is definitely a Patriots pick, and I think he's going to do really good things in the Patriots defense. The Browns take Jordan Elliott, defensive tackle out of Missouri. This was their trade down with the Saints, and I really like this pickup because Jordan Elliott was the best player available. He's projected to go like 35, and he fell to 88. So good pickup by the Browns there. The Vikings then take Cameron Dantzler, cornerback out of Mississippi State. The Texans take Jonathan Grenard, a linebacker out of Florida. The Patriots then trade up with the Raiders to take Devin Ozzie, the tight end out of UCLA. They've got their replacement tight end, and they take another guy later on. So when I said the Ravens take Devin Duvernay, the wide receiver out of Texas, I really like him. One of those speed guys. He didn't run many routes, but he's a good slot receiver, and I think he's going to fit the Ravens scheme really well with their running because he's got speed. He torched OU's defense this year and was a pretty good player at Texas. I'm also interested to see where Colin Johnson goes tomorrow. The Titans take Darrellton Evans, the running back out of Appalachian State, another guy just to give Derrick Henry a break. Sometimes he was pretty good at Appalachian State this year. The Packers take Josiah DeGara, a tight end out of Cincinnati. So again, they don't take a wide receiver, and they take a tight end, which I guess is a weapon since you do have to replace Jimmy Graham too. But man, for Packer fans, I feel bad for you guys. Broncos then take McKelvin Ajim, the defensive tackle out of Arkansas. The Chiefs take Lucas Niang, an offensive tackle out of TCU. I would have liked them to see them take a corner or a defensive tackle here, but I don't mind the offensive lineman. Browns take Jacob Phillips, linebacker out of LSU, another LSU guy. Uh, then the Ravens take Malik Harrison, linebacker out of Ohio State. This was from the trade with the Patriots. So a good player there for them. Another Ohio State guy. The Giants take another offensive tackle from UConn, Matt Piart. He looked pretty good in his stats blocking wise. The Raiders take Tanner Muse, a safety out of Clemson. So they keep stacking up on Clemson players. Patriots again trade up with the Jets, take Dolphin Keene, another tight end from Virginia Tech. So now they have two tight ends to run in their formation, as you clearly tell. I guess they're fine with Jared Stidham, as Jacob Eason and Jake Fromm still aren't picked after the first three rounds. Jalen Hurts was the only quarterback taken today. And they'll probably go early tomorrow to some teams that need a backup, but you could tell that there's a lot of good players in this draft that they're not being taken because there are some concerns about them. The Steelers take Alex Highsmith, the linebacker out of Charlotte. Eagles take Davion Taylor, a linebacker out of Colorado. The Rams take Terrell Burgess, safety out of Utah. The Saints may have gotten a steal here. They trade up with the Vikings to take Adam Trotman, a tight end out of Dayton. He looked really good on his stats, and the things the Saints do with tight ends, this could be a really good pickup for them. And the last pick of the day, Ravens take Tyree Phillips, an offensive tackle from Mississippi State. So the main things I want to bring back up are Jalen Hurts to the Eagles. As I said, I really like this pickup for the Eagles, and one of my guys that I've really liked at Bama fell in love with him even more when he came to OU. And I hope he does really good with the Eagles. I think Neville Gallimore will do really good with the Cowboys. The two steals of the draft, in my opinion, are J.K. Dobbins to the Ravens and Grant Delpit to the Browns. But I think T. Higgins is going to be a good contributor. I think Jonathan Taylor's going to be a good contributor. There's a lot of good players in this draft. I think Cam Akers was a good pickup for the Rams. Denzel Mims to the Jets was really good. I think the only losers that I'd have to talk about today are the Packers not taking a wide receiver. And was there anyone else that I just wasn't really thrilled? The Steelers not taking Denzel Mims was kind of a not good choice, but I don't mind Chase Claypool either. The Seahawks didn't draft really well. Drafted a couple guys I've never even heard of, but they may be really good. Just because I didn't hear of them doesn't mean that they're not good. Don't get me wrong there. Yeah, that's about it. I'd say. All in all, a pretty good day in the draft. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Uh, Main people that are still available are the two quarterbacks, Jake Fromm and Jacob Eason. And OU World, we still have Parnell Motley out there who should be selected tomorrow. AJ Green from OSU should be selected tomorrow. We'll see if Lee Morris gets selected as a late tight end wide receiver. Guy in the seventh will probably play kick return though. Um, got people. That's really about it left in this draft that I see as contributors. Um, but most of the wide receivers went today that didn't go yesterday early, and that was good. Denzel Mims was the last one taken. That was kind of up there high. He fell a little bit to the Jets, but wasn't bad. All in all, I think it was a good day for the draft. Again, they do really well. I really starting to enjoy Roger Goodell, as you could tell that he was getting tired as he went from standing to sitting, and then he's like kind of sitting back. He had his M&Ms next to him, and he'd talk about his M&Ms, shake them. He's a pretty funny guy, and I've gotten a lot of respect for Roger Goodell over these last 2 days. And he's providing some funny. You could tell that ESPN was getting tired. He was getting tired. There was a lot of mistakes in the last 30 minutes of this. But all in all, it was a pretty good draft day. We'll see what happens tomorrow. That's it for me today. I'm going to do a SmackDown review. I'll get it up probably in the morning for any of you that are wondering for that. Yes, I did watch it. I had them both on two separate. I had one on my phone and the draft on my TV and followed both of them. We had a pretty good episode of SmackDown today where the women's tag titles were defended. It looked like they set up the number one contenders for the tag titles. Triple H celebration was pretty funny. A couple other things happened, but we'll talk about that in the next video. All in all, that's it for me today, and I will see you all, I guess, in the morning. Peace.